Darkness tries to roll over my bones. When sorrow comes to steal the joy I own. When brokenness and pain is all I know. No, I won't be shaken. I won't be shaken. 'Cause my fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. Shame no longer has a place to hide. I am not a captive to the lies. I'm not afraid to leave my past behind. Oh, I won't be shaken. No, I won't be shaken. 'Cause my fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. This power that can break off every chain. This power that can empty out a grave. This resurrection power that can save. This power in your name. Power in your name. This power that can break off every chain. This power that can empty out a grave. This resurrection power that can save. This power in your name. This power in your name. 'Cause my fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your
Hey everyone, welcome to Church Online. I'm Kobe, I'm one of the pastors here on staff, and we want to welcome you to our service today. We hope that our time together encourages you with our worship and our learning together. And if you're brand new today, if you've never been with us, or if you want to get plugged in, text the number below. We would love to get to know you, answer any of your questions, and ultimately help you get plugged into our church. We have some great things happening in the life of our church. On September 13th, we're coming back. We're regathering here on campus, and we are so excited to see all of you on that day. And right after that, the following weekend on September 20th, we're having Friend Day. And so we want to invite you to bring all of your friends on September 20th for an awesome experience together. So if you want more information on what this day is going to look like, or if you want to sign up to serve that day, we want to invite you to text the phrase Friend Day to the number below to get signed up.
Have you ever felt stuck in your faith? Like your faith just hit a roadblock and you don't know what to do next. You want movement, any movement, but you don't know what the next step is. Maybe for you, the next step is stepping out of isolation and into community. We need each other. God designed you and God designed me to live in community. You know, throughout my life, the biggest catalysts of faith for me have almost always happened within the context of relationships with people when I'm intentional about being in a community full of people who are passionate about finding and following Jesus. Because we believe in the power of community, here at Crosspoint, we have growth groups. Growth groups are a small group of people who desire to grow not just in their relationship with other people, but with their relationship with God. I want to invite you to sign up for a group. We've got groups that meet online or outside, and we've got groups for every age and life stage. One of the groups that I'm super excited about is a group called Foundations. You know, I have a couple friends from Nepal, and a few years ago, an earthquake wrecked their city. And the difference between the buildings that stood firm and the buildings that toppled over was the strength of their foundation. You know, when it comes to our spiritual life, our foundation matters so much. And in this study, you're gonna get to learn the truths and the practices that will set you up for a firm foundation. So no matter what happens in this world, you can know beyond a shadow of a doubt that you've got a God in heaven who is bigger and stronger than anything that goes on around you. So if you wanna have a firm foundation, then sign up for this group today. Right now, pick up your phone and text Growth Group to 94,000 to check out all of the groups that we're offering this fall. And don't hesitate because these groups are gonna fill up fast, so make sure and sign up today. Your spiritual growth is waiting.
One of my favorite parts about our church is that we truly care about the next generation. We are laser focused on helping youth find and follow Jesus through showing them God's way instead of the world's way. And as you know, COVID-19 has messed up everyone's plans this year. But here's the good news. We are continuing to offer a safe and friendly environment for your teenagers to come and hang out with us. Throughout summer, we are offering weekly outdoor youth hangouts while encouraging CDC guidelines with temperature checks. And if you're a teenager or if you know any teenager in the area, we want to invite them out tonight. We are back for another youth hangout. We want to invite you to be a part of it. With school officially online for the fall, we are believing that these environments are so important for our teenagers. For more information, check out our website at crosspoint.com/youth, and we would love to send you more information on tonight's event and the future of our ministry.
Today for our stewardship thought, I want to talk about a very controversial subject for many people, tithing. I get it. When the church talks about money, people get funny. You know, many Christians struggle with the issue of tithing. On one hand, in some churches, giving is overemphasized. On the other hand, many Christians refuse to obey God's plan of the tithe. Tithing and giving is intended to be a joy. It's intended to be a blessing. Now, sadly, sometimes that's not the case in the church today. You know, the tithe was a requirement of the law in which the Israelites were to give 10% of the crops they grew and the livestock that they raised to the temple, which was the church of their day. Now, Leviticus chapter 27 and verse 30 says, 1/10 of the produce of the land, whether grain from the fields or fruit from the trees, belongs to the Lord. It must be set apart to Him as holy. Now, some people, they say that tithing is an Old Testament thing. And others say tithing was part of the law. We're now living in grace, so tithing isn't required. Did you know that tithing actually happened before the law was given in the Old Testament? Abraham and Jacob, they gave 10% before the Mosaic law was even given. Now, some people say that we now live in the New Testament era, and so tithing, it's no longer required. However, Jesus himself actually affirmed the tithe. Here's what Jesus said in Matthew chapter 23 and verse 23. He said, "What sorrow awaits you, teachers of religious law, and you Pharisees, hypocrites! For you're careful to tithe even the tiniest income from your herb gardens, but you ignore the more important aspects of the law: justice, mercy, and faith. You should tithe, yes, but do not neglect the more important things." Listen, what Jesus was saying was, he was saying that they gave a tenth, a tithe of what God had provided as increase to them to the local church. But Jesus shares that it's important to tithe, which is also to be sure to always seek justice, mercy, and faithfulness. Now, we recognize that some of you today, you can't tithe right now. You can't give. And if that's you, listen, God brought you here to receive. We're here to support you. But for some of you, God is calling you to take a step of faith and to tithe. See, giving is an act of worship to God. It should be a joy for us to be able to return a portion of what God has blessed us with as an act of worship. So today, church, I want to challenge you. I want to challenge you to be generous and faithful in your tithes and offerings. You can give online, or you can text giving to the number below. Better yet, I want to challenge you to automate the important. Sign up for recurring giving so your church can step into the future with boldness. And by automating your giving, you help Crosspoint Church plan and prepare for the future. When you financially support your church, you are a link on the chain of helping other people find and follow Jesus.
How great the chasm that lay between us, how high the mountain I could not climb. In desperation, I turned to heaven and spoke your name into the night. Then through the darkness, your loving kindness tore through the shadows of my soul. The work is finished, the end is written. Jesus Christ, my living hope. Who could imagine so great a mercy? What heart could fathom such boundless grace? The God of ages stepped down from glory to wear my sin and bear my shame. The cross has spoken, I am forgiven. The King of Kings calls me his own. Beautiful Savior, I'm yours forever. Jesus Christ, my living hope. Hallelujah, praise the one who set me free. Hallelujah, death has lost its grip on me. You have broken every chain. There's salvation in your name, Jesus Christ, my living hope. to breathe. Out of the silence, the roaring lion declared the grave has no claim on me. Then came the morning that sealed the promise. Your very body began to breathe. Out of the silence, the roaring lion declared the grave has no claim on me. Jesus, yours is the victory. Whoa, hallelujah. Praise the one who set me free. Hallelujah. Death has lost its grip on me. You have broken every chain. There's salvation in your name, Jesus Christ, my living hope. Hallelujah. Praise the one who set me free. Hallelujah. Death has lost its grip on me. You have broken every chain. There's salvation in your name, Jesus Christ, my living hope. Jesus Christ, my living hope. God, you are my living
Hey, welcome to Church Online. We're so glad that you're watching us today. Man, we are getting excited about our regathering together. And so we're going to be coming back on Sunday, September 13th, 9:30 a.m. We can't wait to see some of you in person. We also recognize some of you may not be comfortable just yet, so we will continue to offer our online experience as well. But those that do feel comfortable, we look forward to seeing you collectively together here at Crosspoint. Now, I have a question that I want to ask you today. Have you ever used this expression, hey, I've got to draw a line? You know, maybe your parents, the kid's grandparents, bought your child a drum set, and it's been a long day. You feel like a headache coming on. You're a little cranky, and he wants to play the drum set, and you're like, hey, I've got to draw a line. Like, no. Or maybe you've had this happen before when you pay for the warranty, you pay the additional money, and then you have a problem with the product, and now all of a sudden they're telling you that they can't take it back, and you're like, hey, listen, I need to draw the line. Like, no. Or maybe for some of you, have you ever asked this question like, hey, I need to talk to your manager? Or maybe you're on the phone, it's like, hey, I need to talk to your boss right now. It's like I'm drawing the line. If you've ever done that, they have an expression for you today where they call you a Karen. Now, if your name is Karen, I'm sorry, I apologize. I'm sure this isn't you. You can just kind of blame the Gen Z crowd for calling you a Karen. But if you blame them, they'll probably turn around and call you a Karen for complaining them anyways. But today, we're talking about drawing a line. It's, do we have the conviction to draw a line to say, enough is enough? I was at the gym this past week, and I've been going to this gym here in Yorba Linda called Fanatics, and one of my good friends, Vadik Hawkins, owned the gym, and I found out that he put everything outside, which is kind of cool. It's like Venice Beach here in our neck of the woods. And while I'm there, I get there early and I put all my stuff, my towel, I put my phone, I put my headphones, everything on the treadmill. And then I go into the gym and I check in, had to use the restroom, come back out, and there's a guy who's on the treadmill. Now, there's only one treadmill outside. So I go up to the guy and I'm like, hey, listen, have you seen my towel and my headphones and my phone and all the stuff that was right here on the treadmill? And he says, yeah, I got tired of waiting. I set it over there. And at that moment, I wasn't quite sure how to react because I don't want to be like a doormat that just gets walked on. But at the same time, I'm like, hold on, I'm a pastor. Like, I can't like go off on this guy, but do I draw the line here? And I just kind of said, hey, let me know when you're going to get off. And it was interesting because this other guy who I just met a few days later but was there watching the whole scene, his name is Ping. And Ping came up to me and he said, hey, I saw how you dealt with that guy. I thought that you handled that really, really well. I'm like, oh, thank God, because I forget people are watching. It's like, I don't always know, like, am I going to draw a line in the sand? Is this it? Is this like a time where we're saying, no, enough is enough? Because I want to be careful. But also at the same time, I don't want to be a doormat. I don't want to get walked on. So we're talking today about some guys that drew a line in the sand and said, enough is enough. We're in this series called Thriving in Babylon. It's a study of the book of Daniel. And just to give you some context, this happened 2,600 years ago. There was a world power, a superpower, which was Babylon. And it was led by King Nebuchadnezzar. And he just kept conquering country after country after country until everyone knew about Babylon. And he conquered this little country called Judah. And when he conquered Judah, he went on a mission to find the brightest, the youngest, the who's who of Judah. But he had this goal to brainwash these 4 guys. And he wanted to brainwash them into Babylonian culture. His whole desire was them to act like Babylonians, and so he was going to raise them up, give them an opportunity. They were elite. He was going to put them in leadership, but first he had to clear them of all their Christianity, of all of their beliefs in the true God. So what he did is he brought them along. Their names were Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. And he started brainwashing them into Babylonian culture. And if they disobeyed, then they should have died. But the unthinkable happens. All 4 of them had courageous faith. And they didn't turn from going God's way. They kept their faith. They flourished. And this is the story of the book of Daniel. But they also kept their convictions, but at the same time, they didn't turn people off either. They didn't go on a rant. Basically, they learned how to have God's blessing in their life and how to thrive in a culture that was no longer a Christian culture. How to thrive in Babylon. That's the story of the book of Daniel. Is how can you bless a city that's not designed to bless you? Now, last week we studied Daniel chapter 3, and we learned about King Nebuchadnezzar. And King Nebuchadnezzar, he created this 90-foot statue of himself. Many theologians believe it was of himself. And he called everyone that was on the payroll to come in, thousands of people at the right time. And he hired an orchestra. He put on almost like this Olympic, opening ceremonies pageantry. And he says, when you hear the music, I want you to bow down and worship me. Now, if you don't, he says, I'm going to throw you into the furnace. I'm going to toss you in. So thousands of people, they all gather around this statue. I mean, the music starts, the crowd starts moving. And this was the moment for the king, because he had waited his entire life for this moment right here. Do you know how many other kings he had to outsmart to become the king of Babylon? Do you know how many battle meetings he had to sit in and strategically think through of how to conquer this other country? And it all led to this moment. Here he is, King Nebuchadnezzar, his 90-foot statue. People are going to bow down to him. And the people started moving, and thousands of them started bowing down when they heard the music. Have you ever been on stage and everyone applauds for you? Have you ever had that moment? That's probably what King Nebuchadnezzar felt like at that moment. It was intoxicating to King Nebuchadnezzar. But then something happened. Daniel chapter 3 and verse 8. Daniel chapter 3 and verse 8 says, "But some of the astrologers went to the king and informed on the Jews." Now, Babylonia was a multi-ethnic country, and they definitely saw race, that they saw the Jews. And the response of these three guys, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, would have a great impact on how the whole city would see their people group. Now, I want you to look at verse 9. It says, "They said to the king Nebuchadnezzar, 'Long live the king! You issued a decree requiring all the people to bow down and worship the gold statue when they hear the sound of the horn, flute, zither, lyre, harp, pipes, and other musical instruments. That decree also states that those who refuse to obey must be," catch this, "must be thrown into a blazing furnace. But there are some Jews, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, whom you have put in charge of the province of Babylon. They pay no attention to you, king, your majesty. They refuse to serve your gods. They drew a line in the sand. They said, 'Enough is enough.' And they do not worship the gold statue that you have set up." Now, you have to understand that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they weren't scrubs. Listen, these were high-ranking officials. They were the best of the best from Judah. They had went through this whole brainwashing procedure, but there came this point in time where they drew a line in the sand, and they knew that it would cost them. It may cost them their life. It may cost them comfort. It could cost them, the wealth, a future placement. And it definitely was going to affect everyone else that was there as well, because the king was going to be upset. When he's angry, everyone feels the wrath of that. So the question that I have for you today is this: where do you draw the line? Do you have some convictions? Do you have a backbone? Is there a time when you say, enough is enough? Now, we all have limitations. I mean, we all only have so much money. You only have so much time. You only have so much energy. And those that do not have any limitations, you are called MasterCard's dream client. Listen, you're the dream customer for MasterCard. And some of you have faced the wrath of too much credit card spending because you didn't have any self-limitations. Listen, we all have limitations. You only have so much money, so much time, so much energy. I have this phrase that I love to use that I tell myself, I've taught it here at Crosspoint, where I challenge you to say yes to the best and no to the rest. And you've got to ask yourself this question: whatever it is that's in front of you, is this a good thing or is this a God thing? Because oftentimes, good opportunities and good things can be the enemy of God things. It's not always choosing what's right and wrong. Sometimes it's choosing best over good. So you got to say yes to the best and no to the rest. So for instance, I said yes to my wife, Shannon. It's one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. But when I said yes to Shannon, I said no to every other woman. And if I said yes to any other woman, Shannon would say a big no back to me. Listen, you've got to say yes to the best and no to the rest. If you're going to say yes to your family and yes to your kids, that may require that you simultaneously say no to a job opportunity, job advancement in the future. Listen, if you're going to say yes to getting out of debt, that may mean you have to say no to eating out. If you're going to say yes to working out, then you may have to say no to Netflix binges at night. And if you're going to say, spiritually speaking, if you're going to say yes to Jesus, then that means that you're going to have to make a decision to say no to going the world's way. You see, the very first commandment that Moses gave, commandment number 1, have no other gods before me, is what God said. Listen, Moses came down with the 10 commandments, the very first one, have no other gods before me. And this is what Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, their original names, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, they said, we're drawing a line in the sand. We will not worship. We will not bow down to King Nebuchadnezzar and his gold statue. We will only worship the true God. And by them saying yes to this, they were drawing a line in the sand, then it was going to cost them. Now, they didn't like cross their fingers and say, well, you know what, we're going to bow down, but we're going to cross our fingers because we don't mean it. Or they didn't say, hey, we're going to bow our knee, but we're not bowing our heart. No, they said, we're drawing a line. We're going to follow God's way. Now, King Nebuchadnezzar, he didn't because the king because he was soft. When he heard this report, he calls them in and he calls them out. But because he saw something in them, maybe it was their integrity, maybe it was their character, maybe there was something different about them, he immediately gives them a second chance to bow down. But listen to their response, verse 16. It says, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego replied, O Nebuchadnezzar, we don't need to defend ourselves before you. If we are thrown into the blazing furnace, now catch this, you don't want to miss this. The God whom we serve is able to save us. So here's some courageous faith. God is able. God is bigger. God is more powerful than anything that we're facing, anything in front of us. No matter what you can do, no matter what is going on around me, God is able to save us. He will rescue us from your power, your majesty. But then verse 8, this is interesting. It says, but even if he doesn't, go back to the slide before that. It says, but even if he doesn't. See, we have faith that he has the power to, he can. But even if he doesn't, we want to make it clear to you, your majesty, that we will never serve your gods or worship the gold statue that you have set up. We are drawing a line in the sand. Let me ask you, do you have that kind of conviction to stand up for truth? To say, hey, I'm willing to be thrown into the fire? See, in King Nebuchadnezzar, he was not used to anyone showing any defiance. So he had a full gut reaction. And he said, throw him into the furnace, throw him into the fire, tie him up. And the guards that tied them up, that threw them into the fire was so hot, it killed the guards that threw them into the fire. And they said, listen, whatever it takes, throw us in, throw us in. Let me ask you, do you have that kind of conviction that says, throw me in the fire? You know, for some of you, you are the opposite. You may have some convictions, but they're really not convictions. Maybe they're just preferences. You've got some preferences, but you're making them convictions. Maybe you're taking some of your preferences further than what God would have you take them. Let me give you a case in point. See, I find it very interesting that they changed their names. So, you know, their original names that they had, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, here's what their Hebrew names mean. God is gracious. Who is what God is? And God has helped us. Those were the original meaning of their names, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. But when they got to Babylon, they immediately changed their name. Remember, they were going to brainwash them into this new culture. So here's what their new names mean. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Shadrach means inspired by the Babylonian god Aku. Meshach means belonging to the Babylonian god Aku. And Abednego means servant of the Babylonian god Nego. Now, here's the interesting thing. They changed their names from being these Hebrew godly names to their names now meaning servant of Babylonian gods. But Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego didn't say, hey, don't call me that. I'm going to draw a line in the sand. No. They actually let them change their names. They said, listen, a name, that's a preference for me, not a conviction. Listen, the name, I know who my identity is. I know who I am in Christ. No matter what you call me, no matter what you say about me, and by the way, you're going to have a lot of people call you names and call you names that are not true, that you don't believe in. And listen, when other people call you names, you've got to dig yourself deep into knowing who God has called you to be, knowing your identity, that it is in Christ Jesus. And they said, listen, that's a preference, not a conviction. So I'm not going to go off on that. But the moment you ask me to worship another God, I'm drawing the line in the sand. Now, we don't talk about this very much in the church today. But the Bible over and over says there will be a cost whenever you decide to follow God. When you decide to go God's way, there's going to be a cost you have to pay. When you say yes to God and you say no to this world, there will be some consequences. But 2 Timothy chapter 3, it says, yes, everyone who wants to live a godly life in Christ Jesus will suffer. Listen, you will have some suffering for being a follower of Jesus Christ. 1 Peter 4:12, it says, dear friends, don't be surprised at the fiery trials you're going through, as if something strange were happening to you. John said this in John chapter 15:18. If the world hates you, Jesus said, remember that it hated me first. Your yes to Jesus may mean a no to this world that may cost you. And when you have biblical principles, it may cost you relationally. It may cost you with your family. It may cost you at the workplace. It may cost you some of your comfort. Are you willing to suffer knowing that you've got to draw a line in the sand because these are your biblical convictions? So Nebuchadnezzar said, throw them in the fire. So they threw them into the fire. And Nebuchadnezzar is looking inside of the furnace. And then all of a sudden, he leaps up and he asks the guys, he's like, hold on, didn't we throw 3 guys in there? Because I see 4. And the 4th one looks like the face of God. I was at the gym this week, same gym, I finally got on the treadmill. And when I'm on the treadmill, I've got this routine where I have my Bible, I have my prayer journal. And so I read through my prayer journal while I'm running, and I listen to some Christian music. And this song came on, and it was so perfect. It was a God thing, because I'm studying for this message today. And this song came on by Hillsong. And here's the lyrics of the song. There's another in the fire, standing next to me. See, that's the story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They were in the fire, but they were not alone, because there was Jesus in the fire with them, standing next to them. Listen, there's a lot of people going through pain right now. I don't know what fire you're in right now, but I want to tell you that you are not alone in the fire, that God is with you. I love what it says in verse 24 and 25. It says, suddenly Nebuchadnezzar jumped up in amazement. He explained to his advisors, didn't we tie up 3 men, throw them into the furnace? Yes, your majesty, we certainly did. Look, Nebuchadnezzar shouted, I see 4 men unbound, walking around in the fire unharmed. Listen, they're going on a walk. They're strolling around. They got a smile on their face. They're going through the fire saying, it's not going to burn us. It's unharmed. And the 4th looks like a God. Let me tell you what faith is. Faith is confidence that God can deliver you, and the peace if he doesn't. Remember what Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego said to the king? They said, God is able to save us. Listen, we're not going to fear you. God is able to save us. But even if he doesn't, We're going to draw a line in the sand, and we refuse to worship any other God. Confidence is God can deliver you, but peace, even if he doesn't. And listen, even if he doesn't, you will be delivered. You may be delivered from this earth. Listen, I don't know what we're going through right now. Maybe we're living in the last days. I don't know. Maybe we are, maybe we aren't. No man knows the day or the hour, is what Jesus says. But I want to let you know that if we are living in the last days, as believers, we're going to suffer. We're going to go through some things. And I believe that it is important for us as followers of Jesus to have some convictions, to say, we're going to draw a line in the sand, and we're going to trust God. He can deliver us. But even if he doesn't, we're at peace with that. We're at peace with God, knowing that he will deliver us ultimately one day. You know, January 2nd, 1956, Ed McCauley, Roger Uterin, Nate Saint, Pete Fleming, and Jim Elliot, who were all missionaries. They were all tragically killed by this tribe in Ecuador. And they had spent 3 years communicating with this tribe that they were friendly. They had spent 3 years showering them with gifts. They had spent 3 years trying to build a relationship just so they could go there to the tribe, they could fly the little plane in, and that they could become friends and ultimately share the good news of the gospel of Jesus Christ so this tribe could become followers of Jesus Christ. But when those men's plane landed in that tribe, they were not met with smiles. They were met with spears. And that day, every single one of those men lost their lives. They were tragically murdered. But that's not the end of the story. Because 2 years later, Jim Elliot's wife, Elizabeth, and Nate Saint's sister, Rachel, went back to that same tribe. And they began living with those tribal members. And many of that tribe came to know Jesus Christ as their Lord, their Savior, the boss, the coach, and the CEO of their life. And those two women, they brought peace to that tribe. Listen, God will deliver. God can also take good and create good out of the bad. Maybe not in our generation, but we have confidence knowing that we trust God has the power to save us. But even if he doesn't, we have peace knowing that God is ultimately in control. Would you imagine with me just for a moment, what would it look like for you? What would it look like for the church to walk with the confidence of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the season and the time that we live in right now? What would it look like if we walked in faith knowing that God will deliver us? He's able to deliver us. But even if he doesn't, we're at peace with that. Listen, I want to challenge you with our core value of courageous faith. We have 4 values here at Crosspoint. These aren't just Crosspoint values. These should be your personal values. Teach them to your kids. Teach them to your grandkids. This one's called courageous faith. We say it like this. We are faith-filled, big thinking, bet the farm risk takers. We will never insult God with small thinking and safe living. And here's how you test this value in your life. What are you stepping in right now that if God doesn't show up, it's doomed to failure? See, because that's faith. Maybe you're stepping into a fire, and if God doesn't show up, you're going to get burned. I want to tell you that God is with you. Walk in courageous faith. If you've never put your faith and trust in Jesus Christ, this is your moment right now. I want to ask you to pray this prayer. You can say it right now where you're at. Just say, Dear God, I'm asking you to forgive me of my sins and take full control of my life. Right now, I'm declaring you the boss, the coach, and the CEO of my life. Listen, if you prayed that prayer just now, I want to be the first to congratulate you and say, welcome to the family of God. And your faith journey, this isn't the end. This is the starting point. This is the beginning of your faith journey. And we want to help you. And so one of the ways we'll help you is we're going to send you a book. We're going to send you some next steps of what it means not just to find Jesus, but also follow Jesus. So if you'll text the number below, find and follow, we'll put that in the mail this week. And we want to help you in your spiritual journey. Listen, I want to challenge you right now to find a group. We've talked about groups. Man, groups are coming up in just a few weeks. So find a group online. Well, you can meet either online or in person. We've got several different groups. So find a group that fits for you. Make plans if you feel comfortable to be with us at our outdoor service on Sunday, September 13th. And then the next Sunday, September 20th, we're going to have a friend day, online friend day, as well as in-person friend day as well. We're going to have free in and out for everybody that shows up here at the church. We're going to have a great experience. Listen, you don't want to miss next week's message as we're going to Daniel chapter 4, and we're specifically talking about decision making, how to make wise choices and decisions. So I hope to see you next Sunday.
We've loved getting to worship with you today, and we hope our time together has been encouraging. If you've made a decision to take the next steps in your faith, we want to invite you to tell us about it. Text the number below. We would love to come alongside of you in your journey and celebrate with you today. Hey, if you have kids in the room, gather them around the TV. We're going right into our Kid Point service, and if not, we hope you have a great week, and we'll see you next time.
For a peanut. What's up, everybody? It's me, Jacob, and today we're getting creative with light. Creativity is imagining what you could do because you were made in God's image. And God could tell you a thing or two about light. It was the first thing he created after all. Let there be light. Oh, no, too bright, too bright. Did you know that light can travel at 186,000 miles per second. If you were in a spaceship, it would take you 3 days to get to the moon. Light can travel to the moon in about a second.
Fly me to the moon, let me put in the stars, and never.
You can use light in all kinds of creative ways. Not only can you make shadow puppets, you need light to take pictures and make videos.
This won't do it all. This is terrible lighting. Lights! No, down with the lights. No, too bright. Thank you.
You can use lights to make a concert more exciting. You can even use light to communicate.
SOS. Need help. I'm out of chocolate. Sad emoji.
I don't actually know Morse code. In today's story, we're going to learn about another use for light. In fact, we're going to learn how you and me can be the light. I can make a bee. I can make a bee.
You gotta get the wings. Oh, okay.
Bee.
I'm a bee.
See you in a few.
A six-legged chicken. It's chicken for everyone. Sheep that can shear themselves. A pair of glasses that'll let you see behind you. Oh, yeah. Beef jerky made out of chicken? Novels! Oh, this is the best idea yet. Where do they come from?
So strange.
Clothes that are made from other clothes. Pat Sajak scented deodorant.
Welcome to the So and So Show. I'm Brandon.
And I'm John, and we're wearing awesome mustaches.
Yes, we are. Why?
Because we're chefs, and every self-respecting chef has a mustache.
Gordon Ramsay doesn't have a mustache.
Okay, that's one.
Bobby Flay, Emeril, Martha Stewart. doesn't have a
Subpar
mustache.
chefs.
They're like the most famous chefs in the world.
Below par.
Okay, who are the above par chefs then with mustaches?
Chef Louis.
The guy from The Little Mermaid? That doesn't count.
Okay, what about Chef Remy from Ratatouille?
Oh, no. Those are whiskers, plus he's a rat and a cartoon. Doesn't count.
Aha! What about the greatest chef in history, Chef Boyardee? He was a genius.
Okay, you got me there. We're dressed like this because we are making an old family recipe today.
Snickerdoodle soup surprise?
Not your family's recipe. An old family recipe from someone who knows stuff.
Oh!
Bonjour.
Come on in, have a seat. Oh, this is cool.
Tell us who you are and what you know.
I'm Madeleine Lemord, but I am called Maddie, and I know quite a bit. I know every winner of the Tour de France for the last 2 decades. I know how to put together a Bugatti racing engine. But I am most known for what I can cook.
Great, you're a cook.
Quoi? No. I am a chef. And by the way, I do not have a mustache.
It suits you.
Merci.
So, what are you gonna cook for us today?
Le poisson!
Les poissons. Les poissons. Oh, I love les poissons.
Oh, me too.
But no. We are making a 250-year-old recipe passed down in my family for generations.
Ooh, sounds mysterious. What's the recipe for?
French fries.
You know, I heard that French fries actually originated from the country of Belgium.
Oh, so they're really Belgian fries.
Yeah.
No, they are French fries.
Yeah, but if you look on the internet...
They are French fries.
Okay.
Some people like to peel the potatoes. My family's recipe leaves the skin on. Now we cut them.
All right, where do we...
Voila!
start?
You batter the fries.
All right.
This batter is what makes these French fries so special and so delicious. This batter is made with flour ground from the wheat kernels from the finest wheat fields in France. And then we add a precise amount of white grape juice squeezed by hand directly into the bowl. And then, of course, this batter contains the perfect blend of our secret family herbs and spices.
Yum! Batter up!
You
Yep.
put the duck fat in the pot.
All right, this is duck fat?
Yes, of course. What else would you cook in?
Yeah, Brandon.
Sorry. So, Chef Maddie, is there like a recipe or something in a cookbook or on the internet that in case anyone wants to try this at
The
home?
internet? A cookbook? Quoi? No. This is a secret family recipe. I was taught this recipe by my father, who learned it from his mother, who learned it from her great aunt, who learned it from her great grandfather, Chef Jean-Baptiste Honoré Le Monde.
Did he have a mustache?
We do not tell people the secret of the recipe because then everyone would know it.
Well, I just thought that if the recipe is so delicious that you would want other people to know it so they could, share in the deliciousness.
This is something I have not thought about. It has always just been a recipe passed down in my family.
Oh, well, I can't wait to pass it down my throat into my belly. So are we going to cook these Belgian fries or what?
Yes, of course. You must bake them bit by bit at 375 degrees until they are golden brown.
Wait. You're sticking around to watch us cook them, right?
Oh, I'm afraid not. No, I do not think I can keep this recipe to myself any longer. Everyone should know, no?
No. Yes. What?
Be on the lookout for Chef Maddie's cookbook where all my secrets will be revealed.
Magnifique!
Bye. She didn't even say bye.
Well, she's in a hurry. Do you want to put these in the oven?
Oui.
Oh, you speak French now.
No. I have to tinkle. Oui. Ah! Oh! I had to tinkle and put on some skin. Ow!
It's Bible story time with Kellen.
Hey guys! What's that delicious smell?
Oh, we're cooking up some French fries, Kellen.
Yeah, they should be ready by the time the story's over.
Well, let's get to it. The story today comes from Jesus' most famous sermon in the Bible. And since Jesus preached this sermon from the side of a mountain, today we call it the Sermon on the Mount.
The sermon from the mouths? I thought all sermons were from the mouths.
No, the Sermon on the Mount. It's short for mountain.
A short mountain is called the hills.
Okay. So everyone, this is my friend Horvath. I'm guessing he's here to help me tell today's story.
Thank you for having me on your shows, Kellens. I am Horvath, and I am an expert in combining the mental trainings of learning the Bible with the physical trainings of making your muscles bigger.
Perfect. So I'll tell the story, and Horvath, you give us some exercises to help us remember it.
All right, let's do this.
Okay, so Jesus was talking to a crowd of people from the side of a mountain. One of the things he said to his followers was this: you are the salt of the earth.
First exercise. Okay, we are going to make salt for the earth. All right, so I put my hands on my hips like this and then rotate around. Click, 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 click. This is called the salt grinder. We do it 24 times. Ready? Go. 1. Click, click, click. 14. Click, click, click. Elastigirl. Click, click, click. 3-hole punch. Click, click, click. 24. Hey, we made salt of the earth.
Okay, that was fun, but what do you think Jesus was talking about when he said, you are the salt of the earth? Yeah, so when Jesus said, you are the salt of the earth, I'm pretty sure he wasn't saying we actually taste like salt. But salt is used to make food taste better, and salt is used to keep certain foods fresh. So maybe if we're the salt of the earth, Jesus was saying that we have the opportunity to make the world better somehow. You see? Okay. Jesus kept going. He said, you are the light of the world.
Second exercise. We are not salt anymore. Click, 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 click. We are lights. So let us pretend to be lighthouses. Stand straight and rotate your head like a light all the way around. I call this turn the light on. We do it 137 times. Go. 1. 26. Grape nuts. Willie Shoemaker. 137. Oh, what's next, Kellens?
Right. So first Jesus called people who followed him salt, and then he said we were light. Well, what do you think that means? Oh, no, don't do that again. No. Here, maybe this will help. Jesus said, you are the light of the world. People don't light a lamp and put it under a bowl, right? Right. Instead, they put it on its stand. Then it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine so others can see it. Then they'll see the good things you do, and they'll bring glory to your Father who is in heaven.
I think I understand.
You do?
No.
That's okay. It can be confusing sometimes. Jesus was saying that if you are someone who trusts and follows him, you should live in such a way that brings light into what can sometimes be a dark world. You should be looking for creative ways to do things and creative ways to love others. And when we do that, it will point others to God.
All right, let's do this. 7th exercise. I call this one ladders to heaven, so we can point people to God's. Okay, so we raise our hands and legs at the same times, just like we are climbing the ladders to heaven. And then when we reach the top, we point like this. Huh? Okay, we climb 45 of the ladder rungs. Go. 1. 6. 45. Now point to God because he is the most important. I think I need to take the elevator.
Good idea. Bye, Horvath.
Going down.
Well, just in case that wasn't clear, it boils down to this. You have the light inside of you, and it's up to you to decide how to use it. You can keep it to yourself, or you can let it shine. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Kellen. Hey, what are some ways we can shine our lights?
Oh, there are so many different ways because everyone is so different. Sometimes it's as simple as being nice to someone. Anyone can do that. But sometimes you need to use your own unique talents and abilities to point people to God. What's important is that you don't keep it to yourself. I mean, do you ever think about how you'd feel if someone didn't point you to God?
I'd feel so left out.
Yeah, Jesus has been such a big part of my life. I want everyone to know him.
Exactly.
You're the best, Kellen. Thanks for shining your light.
You bet. I'll see you guys next time.
Bye. Let's do it.
All right, reveal the question.
Who first told you about God's story?
What a great question, because those were people who shone their light to us. For me, it was a guy named Brett in my senior class at high school.
Oh, cool. For me, it was my grandmother.
Oh, cool.
For me, it was my mom when she took me to Sunday school for the first time.
Awesome.
Are the fries ready yet?
Oh.
Ooh. All right.
Oh, yum.
Oh, yum, too. Also yum. These are amazing.
Yeah, good.
We got to tell people about this.
I think you're right. I think we should.
No, now. We need to tell people right now. Hey, everybody, you got to try this.
Okay, we'll see you guys next week for another So-and-So show.
Oh, it's all good. Try it right now. Right now.
John.
Lunch. I'm ready to get bread. I'll be running. You do the spin. All of them. So good. Good.
Jesus said that I am a light. He said that you are a light, and we should let our light shine so others can see it. And when we shine our lights, it will help point people to God. So, how do we shine our lights? Well, we can give someone a helping hand. Oh, goodness. Oh! We can cheer someone on. You can listen when someone else needs to talk. That's my ear. Listening. Only you can shine your light the way you can. So get creative. All you have to do is treat others the way Jesus did. Love people, serve people, and treat people like they matter. Then you'll be giving people a glimpse of God's story. You'll show people how much God loves them and how much they matter to Him. Here's the one thing to remember today. God created you to share His story. Tell people with your words what God has done, or use your actions to point people to Him. No matter what, let your light shine. I know I'll never forget that. I'll see you next time. Oh, it's too bright. It's too bright. Bye. Oh, okay.